Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hi friends, welcome to another trope recommendation video, and today we are going to be doing secret lovers, aka hidden relationship, and in some of the cases a forbidden relationship. This video was actually requested by Megan L, who's been a longtime supporter and a patron of this channel. She's wonderful. Thank you, Megan, for suggesting this. She put this into my video recommendation form, which I always have linked down below. I can't promise to necessarily get to a video, but when I'm looking at trying to come up with, what's some I need for the channel? Because, I do make 4 videos a week and only one of those videos is like a set video, right? My weekly wrap up. And I will oftentimes go into that form and see if there's any videos that, or any topic that like sparks an idea. Because it's very hard for me to just, make this video. Or I've made 3 of those videos. Or I've made one, but it was like a year ago and people are wanting more recs. And I'm like, I haven't read any more of that trope, so I can't do it. So I try my very best. But just know, if you put a recommendation into that video rec form, I do see it. And if it's one that I'm interested in making and it works out that like, oh, hey, I've really been thinking about this trope, I do it. Anyway, that's enough of an intro into that. But one of the things I want to say is that this, at first when I heard like secret lover, I was like, ooh, that. And then I was like, oh, well, this is hidden relationship. That's what it is, right? I liked the term secret lover though. It does seem a little bit spicier and fun and not just like hidden relationship. So to go along with that little more mysterious name for this trope as secret lover, I tried to pick ones where it really is kind of a secret love. It isn't just about having a tryst or having sex with someone that you shouldn't be telling other people about, right? Or it's forbidden to you. So though some of these ones start out as that, it's very clear, like from the beginning, that it's going to be more than that. Okay. That's kind of my like goal with this time around. And maybe these aren't all perfectly like that. At the end of the day, they are all a hidden or forbidden relationship. I just wanted them to be ones that don't necessarily start as like friends with benefits. Like it's clear that there's like more there. But I definitely have made a couple forbidden relationship ones or like friends with benefits, those type of things. So you can look for those videos in my trope playlist. But let's go ahead and dive in. I do have 10 recommendations to go over. And yeah, it'll be a good book here. So the first one, I wanted to start off with one that's a little bit lighter. Some of these are lighter, but I also have some pretty dark ones in here too, and some erotic ones. So we're gonna touch it all. Let's bring you a little bit closer to me today. Yeah. Look at my cute little earrings. It's funny. These earrings were also sent to me by Megan. I didn't even do this on purpose, but if you can see, they have little like Highland cows on them and they're so cute. I love them. I didn't even do that on purpose. Thank you, Megan. These are adorable. So I want to actually start with, drop it on my stand. That's great. With The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. So I love Elle Kennedy. I have read her for years now. I've read her, like Him and Us were the very first ones I read by her and Serena Bowen that were romance. So I love Elle Kennedy. And this series is actually a second generation series, though really, this book is the only one so far that has had someone who's a daughter of a previous series. We won't get into that. We'll save that topic for another day because both books 2 and then what's going to be 3 aren't about anyone else's children, I guess. But this is about Gigi Graham, and she is Garrett and Hannah Graham's daughter, which is the couple from The Deal, okay? Which is a wonderful new adult romance. And this one is about, they're actually both hockey players, and she's trying to make the Olympic team. And of course her father's a famous hockey player. He's now currently a coach, and he actually coaches the Briars men's team. And this team actually had both Briar U and another team smushed together. I can't remember where I like put a marker in where the roster was. Give it to me. Give it to me. That had all of them put in together. And so that means there's guys from both teams that are now, having to play together and work together, and there's a lot of friction there. And one of these guys who is one of the co-captains, is actually Gigi's ex. And then there is Ryder, who he is from that like rival school that now they're on the team together, and they're co-captains together. And it has them in a very difficult position, right? Because they need to get along to make their team successful. But Ryder and Gigi end up having this kind of deal where he's kind of coaching her to help her be even better at what she's doing without having to like go to her dad for help with this. And she agrees to put in a good word with her dad for him. So they start with this like secret relationship that isn't sex focused. It's literally kind of this like team up, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours in the beginning that doesn't have to do with sex. But it becomes kind of a like frenemies with benefits because they don't have a lot of extra time in their life. And now a lot of that extra time is eaten up by them working together. So it's like, well, we might as well also get our itch scratched while we're there together. And also a reason I put this within the secret lover category and not just like a hidden relationship is that they have some amazing discussions. They really get to know one another. And something I've loved in this new series, because both the Graham Effect and the next one, which I forgot the name of, the Dixon Rule, I was just surprised at the depth of it for being a new adult romance. Like, and it's not that I haven't been greatly moved by new adult romance. I absolutely have. But there was just something about how these two really understood each other. And also one of my favorite parts of this is when Ryder and her are like kind of officially out as dating. Gigi's dad, of course, is being super protective and very like tough on him. But it's also hard because like he's also his coach and he's very like proud of him for on the team. It's just like, oh, you're dating my daughter. Like, I can't handle this, you know? But the way that Hannah specifically kind of welcomes Ryder into their family, because he doesn't have parents who, have been there for him. And so to see Hannah, there's this particularly a scene, I believe it's at Thanksgiving, with Hannah and Ryder, and it literally like teared me up. It was so sweet. So anyway, this book has a lot more depth to it than I was expecting, and I ended up loving it so much. So that's kicking off our video here. All right, then we have one that I won't talk about too much because I talk about it all the time. It was one of my favorite reads of last year, so I definitely have gushed about it a lot, and that is going to be God of Fury by Rena Kent. Now, I'll say this up front. All 6 books, well, all 5 of the first books, I guess not the last book, because that one is a marriage of like convenience type thing. But the first 5 books in this series, while they are at college, are all secret relationships. They're all enemies to lovers, and they're all different things. But my favorite one in the series, and one that I think people should read even if they don't read the whole series, though like any series, I do suggest you read the series in order. I get it. I do think that you can read it without. If people really, really don't want to read the other ones, that's fine. But the hidden relationship between Nikolai and Brandon is just, it's devastating and beautiful. And they really challenge each other. They help each other with trauma that they have. They push each other. Nico is a feral sunshine golden retriever who is like stalking Brandon, but also can't like get enough of him. And Brandon has always thought that he was straight, but really it seems like he's more demisexual than anything else. And then there's just this big ball of energy that's just pursuing him and pushing him and is like, you know, poking at him all the time. And it's really just, it's such a crazy relationship. And there are some extremely tough moments in this. This has a lot of trigger warnings that you should be aware of before you pick it up. But the couple that these two become by the end is so beautiful. Now, in this one, only one of them really wants the relationship to be a secret. And that would be Bran, of course. And the way that Nico, and I mean, I know this is 2 men, so, you know, a man is not going to react the same as like a woman would. But I feel like so many times in a hidden relationship where it's like only one of the person wants it to be a secret and it's the man, the woman really just lets that man kind of do that until they just bubble over with frustration. And I really liked how in this one, Nico, you know, and of course, a lot of it is because he is a man. He's a mafia man. He's a badass. He's not going to be treated that way. but he just is like, I'm not gonna stick around for this. Like, you're either gonna be proud of our relationship or you're not. And that's really hard for Brandon, because number one, he never meant to end up in a relationship with this man, and he never expected to be attracted to anyone at all, let alone this wild mafia man that he's fallen for. So anyway, I just love this so much. It's very beautiful. I know the covers are wild. Let me show you I got this special edition of this one. I mean, the regular cover of this one's hot too, but I really do love this special edition. It's really beautiful. So this is A Secret Lover. They even have a little like hideaway that they go to, and I love it. It's beautiful. All right, then we have one that I have had issues with in the past, but overall, like, I still liked this book, and I think it really fits into this one well. This one is an enemies with benefits for sure, but I really loved this couple until I was pissed in the third act with this one. But you know what? Third acts are supposed to piss you off. So, you know, you do what you got to do. There was Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, right? I feel like this series hasn't been talked about much lately because her Kings of Sin series has been going for the last few years, and that's what everyone's been focused on. But Twisted Hate is Josh and Jules, and Jules Ambrose is a former party girl, and she's trying to become an attorney, and she's Josh's sister's friend. And Josh Chen has never met someone that he couldn't charm, and he's actually going to become a doctor. And what happens where these two are really forced to be around each other is that I believe she is kind of, not like interning is kind of the wrong word, but she's doing part of her schooling by like working with the hospital, like being an attorney there. I can't remember the exact setup. It's been quite a few years actually since I read this one. When did this book come out? 2022? Okay, 2 years, because I read an arc of this one back then. And they are now forced to see each other like every day because he's doing his residency and she's finishing off here at college. And they've had this kind of animosity for a long time, kind of almost fighting over his sister a little bit. And Josh doesn't think that Jules is a great example to his sister, which is kind of like, fuck off, Josh, we don't care. But all of their tension kind of just like explodes, and they just can't help wanting to be with each other because they have amazing chemistry. And what's tough with this one is that it is very, very, very difficult for both of them to end up trusting each other. And when there is a secret that comes out, I personally think that one of them reacts in not just a bad way, because I understood it was going to lead to an issue. Of course, that's what the conflict is going to be. I just didn't fully love how that person reacted because it felt cruel. It wasn't just, I'm going to break up with you for this bad information. It was, I'm going to spit in your face and twist the knife in. And I didn't care for it. However, I still gave this book like 4.5 stars. So I still want to recommend it because I loved the secrecy with them. And there's something about, I don't always love hate fucking, but she wrote hate fucking really well in this book. Okay. In a way that I was like, it didn't just feel like they were taking it out on each other. You could feel that that was the facade that they had. So yeah, here we go. Okay, then we have one. This one I think is absolutely beautiful. And this one, honestly, okay, when I was thinking of putting this together, and you know at the beginning how I said I really wanted it to be like secret lovers, where they were hiding this deep relationship from other people because they don't think they'll be accepted or they don't think it's going to work out or whatever. This is the one that I thought of where I truly feel like they are secret lovers, not just hookups or whatever. And that one is Tempt by Melanie Harlow. Yes, this is my beautiful copy that I got off Mercari. I finally have it in my hands, and so I show it whenever I get the opportunity to because it's fucking beautiful. But this book does start as a one-night stand, as so many of them do, you know. But they, you know, I won't go over every bit of it because I've talked about this book a ton, right? I adore it. But, you know, they have a one-night stand. He finds out later on after this one-night stand where they have an amazing time with each other, he discovers he has a son. He discovers that son is getting married, and he gets invited to the wedding, and the wedding planner is her. Boom, there we go. But they live completely across the country for each other. So, you know, after that one-night stand, they think they'll never see each other. Then they see each other at this wedding, and it's like, this is bad. Like, he wants this relationship with his son, and it's her ex-boyfriend as well as she was the wedding planner. And he's like, I don't want to mess up this new relationship I have, but also they just got each other so well. Like, they just got each other. And so what I loved about this one is that they become they're a long distance relationship because, again, they live in different states. You know, he has a job that he travels for. She's trying to start her, you know, get her own business off the ground and be more, you know, be able to work for herself and all this. And their lives are just not conducive to working out. It's not because they're afraid of what other people will think. You know, there's a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, it's more so like, should we tell everyone when this won't even work out because we're so far apart? That's more what it's about, not just their fear of what other people might think. It's more like, should we tell people if we're not going to work out and will cause all this unnecessary drama? But they long for the other person. They pine for the other person. And the times when they're able to connect and hook up, it isn't just about their sexual attraction. They long for each other. And I feel like that is done so well in this book. It's, in my opinion, one of the most emotionally intelligent ones that Melanie has written. I love all of her books, but they, you know, they fit the formula pretty securely. They're, you know, single dad, small town. He's a firefighter. He's an actor, all, you know, bodyguard, like all of those. This one just felt very like emotionally intelligent to me. And they really felt like two people separated by circumstances who were each other's love. And I like that so much. So I hope that gives you a different perspective of this book too. I truly think of these two as like, not star-crossed lovers, because it's not that dramatic, but like secret lovers who are really meant to be together, and, you know, life's trying to get in their way. Okay, now we have a couple here. All right, I have 3 of these that are just straight up, I'm telling you, they are little hidden trysts with each other, okay? Where they just, it starts as the hookup, a forbidden age gap hookup, if you will, but there becomes something deeper very quickly, okay? So I have Forbidden Hearts by Corinne Michaels, and this one is a nanny relationship, which you should be really proud of me. I restrained it to only one of these as a single dad nanny romance, okay? I have plenty of videos with those, but I really liked this one. This kicked off the Whitlock family series, and this one is about Asher, and I don't remember her name actually, let me look, Phoebe, and he has a deaf daughter who the nanny who knows sign language isn't able to do his job. And he has just accepted a new job being SWAT leader for their, I think for their like area, for their county. So he needs to be able to be on like a 30-minute, you know, on call. So he needs like a live-in nanny. And he does have a really great relationship with his, I don't think it was even his ex-wife. They were like one night stand and they've been parenting together. And he just doesn't feel like he can do that job if he doesn't have a live-in nanny. Now, his boss, who I believe is the sheriff of the county, his youngest daughter, I think she's youngest, her name is Phoebe, might be his only daughter too, I don't know. She is actually going to school to be a speech pathologist, and she knows sign language very well, right? She's worked with a lot of deaf kids and will work with them in the future. And the thing is she's, you know, quite a few years younger than Asher, and she actually has babysat his daughter before, and things didn't go so well, we'll say, when she was a teenager. Now, the thing is, though, she's a lot older than that. I think it's 7-8 years later on now. You know, his daughter is, I think, a young teenager. Is she like 12, something like that? I don't know what she is. But obviously she's not the same girl that she was back then. But he's still very reluctant to hire her. And also, he's very attracted to her now as a grown-up woman who's supposed to be in her senior year of college. And he's also wondering what she's doing back home, because she leaves kind of before the end of the school year and is back home. So Asher just has a lot of reservation, shall we say. But his boss convinces him to give her a chance, and so he agrees to do it. So as you can guess from there, like I said, this is a nanny single dad romance, so things are going to bubble over. Definitely Asher has some stuff to work through, because he does give her a hard time for things that he definitely shouldn't. But he's a really good guy. He's a really good dad. His daughter is amazing. And I love the whole Whitlock family. I enjoy this whole series. So highly recommend this one. It's so good. Corinne Michaels, I've just really been loving her books lately. This was the one that kind of reignited my love for her. I've read books before, and I think I had just caught up with where she was at. I'm not saying I read all the backlist, but the series that I was reading, I had like caught up. and then it just took me a while to get back into her. But when I started seeing this everywhere, I hopped on with it, and I adore this family so much. So definitely that. Also, before I go any further, I have a few of these left here. I do have links for all of these books down below that will take you to the Amazon. And I had someone ask me this once. I don't know why I'm putting this into this video, but if you're seeing this, whoever asked this, someone asked me if I do get affiliate credit if someone gets the audiobook of the book. And I just want to say that yes, I do. And basically, if you use that link and you buy any version of the book, because I always link the paperback. That's the one I link to if it has a paperback. Whether you buy the ebook or the audiobook or the paperback, I get a credit for it. If you check out Kindle Unlimited, that's just fine. I don't get a credit for that, which is fine. My point of having it there is for you to have easy access to where the book is, right? It's just right there. Perfect for you. So, anywho, just I thought I'd pop in there. But yes, you do not have to buy the version. I almost said virgin. You don't have to buy the virgin. We're not buying any virgins around here. You don't have to buy the version that's connected. But if you use it to buy any version of it, I get some credit here. It's an easy way to support the channel by using my links, because if it's something you already want to buy, but let's say I influenced you to get it, you're helping me out, and I hope I helped you out by putting the link in there. So anyway, there we go. Moving along to another forbidden one is The Doctor by Nikki Sloan. And this one is a ex-boyfriend's dad. And as you can tell, he's a doctor, and he has thought she's attractive for the last maybe year or so. I think she's 19 or 20. I don't know how she is. And so he's been trying to be very stay away from her. But when she breaks up with his son, she actually catches her boyfriend cheating. She's devastated, and she kind of sort of ends up revenge fucking his dad, which in her mind it isn't supposed to be revenge, but that's kind of what it is at the same time. And these two pick up an illicit affair, pretty big age gap between the two of them, behind his son's back. He doesn't have the best relationship with his son anyway. This definitely isn't going to help things, but there's some really hot role play in this one. And I also really like, he's a doctor, he's a stand-up guy, and I love some of the Nikki Sloan just in general writes fantastic love scenes. She really does. She writes really good kinky things. She has some amazing books in her repertoire, as it were. But yeah, there was just something about this one for sure that this is this is I think one of the first Nikki Sloans that I read. I have since read her entire backlist. I've read all of her books, but this is one of the first ones that I read, and I just love it. And this series, The Nashville Neighborhood, some of them are cornier than others. You also do get to see that son who is the cheater pants. He gets his own romance later on where he has to do some work on himself to get it. But I like that because here's the thing. Yeah, he's an asshole to his girlfriend in here. He's also 19, and 19-year-olds don't make the best decisions. And now he's forced to watch the woman that he used to be with his dad forever. So he gets enough punishment, y'all, okay? But it really reminds me too of Sarah Kate does that in a series too, where the, boyfriend who was an asshole, he gets his comeuppance later on, right? So, anywho, there's that one. Okay, and then the last one that is a, really taboo one, but I honestly love the obsession that grows between them. I don't know. No one writes this type of story like her. But we have Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin. Yeah, Father Magnus hasn't popped up too much lately. I prayed with Father Magnus Falk. Look at this. I got this book signed when I went to meet Pam. But yeah, this one is a prep school romance. It's a priest who is at an all-girls school. He's the headmaster, and it's a Catholic boarding school. And we have Tinsley Constantine, who is forced to go to this school by her mother, who's going to be forcing her into an arranged marriage soon. And she's like, I want to keep my daughter out of trouble, so I'm going to put her in this all-girl boarding school where there's no boys for her to fuck and get into trouble with. Little does she know that Tinsley is going to give Father Magnus hell because that was a good pun that I just made. because she's determined to get herself kicked out of this school. And what's the best way to do that? She's told by some of the other girls there that one of the best ways to do that is actually to flirt with him or try to seduce the headmaster, because there's no patience for that at all. So she's trying to do that. The only thing is, Magnus knows that she's going to be trying to do that. And so he is ready to punish her should she need that to happen. So, yeah. But again, so there are a lot of punishments that happen. There's a lot of detention, and there's her just constantly pushing and pushing and pushing at him. Now, in another life beforehand, he actually used to be like a dom and was very into kink and sexy things. And he put that aside kind of as penance in his own life. He really had like pushed that part of himself aside. And to have Tinsley constantly pushing him all the time and also flirting with him and also doing those things, he just can't help but enjoy punishing her just a little bit too much, just a little bit. And yeah, it leads to some really hot scenes, including one of my favorite scenes where she gets her period at a school dance and he takes her to his home and helps her through that. Yeah, it lives rent-free even after all these years, for sure. It sure does. Lots of Pam's books live rent-free for sure. Okay, now let's get to some others that are still forbidden-ish romances, but they're not the same type of thing. So one book that I actually just reread this one to prepare for the third book in the series. And this one is A Secret Lover ×2, actually. And we have The Home Wrecker by Sarah Kate. This is an MMF relationship, and there's this married couple that ends up sleeping with and falling in love with a man that they rent their spare apartment to. And he actually used to date the hero Caleb's younger brother when they were both discovering, like when that younger brother and him were both discovering their sexuality. And there was something that happened. That boy ended up running away from home, and Dean has always hated Caleb ever since. Through some, story reasons, Dean ends up staying in this room upstairs. Now, Briar, the wife, and Caleb, they've been having not necessarily like problems in their marriage, but there's definitely been some distance that has grown between them. Distance, of course, they wish wasn't there, but also something about Dean and the way that he's stirring the pot really pushes them to face it, and eventually he helps them to work on said marriage. But they, of course, are keeping this a secret because, number one, in the beginning, it's really just fucking around, but deep feelings grow between all three of them, and now they're going to have to make some decisions about what they're going to do about the situation they've found themselves in. So yeah, there we are with that. Okay, then I have a fan fiction to share. There is Breath Mints and Battle Scars. Now, fan fiction is a place where you can find a lot of hidden relationships and secret lovers. But this one particularly, I feel like, works very well because in this one, we have Draco kind of trapped back at Hogwarts. He's really under scrutiny because it's known that he'd been working with the Death Eaters. And instead of putting him in Azkaban, he gets given kind of this like probationary period where he's being kept in Hogwarts and he like physically can't leave. Okay, he can't get away. And Hermione is kind of tasked with keeping an eye on him, sort of thing. But yeah, things definitely get intense from there. And them being forced to kind of like see each other day after day. And Hermione, doesn't necessarily want to be friends with him, but she's really starting to see, there was a lot that led him to working with the Death Eater. Some of it just like family pressure, some of it just, where else was he going to turn to? And yeah, this one is a really beautiful one. You can actually find a Spotify version of this one. If I think about it, I'll link it, but otherwise I'll have the link to the fic down below. But yeah, this was bound for me by my friend Mel, and it has some lovely art from Ellie Varen, who does some beautiful commission stuff. But yeah, this is my Breath Mints and Battle Scars. It's a very toxic Draco and Hermione, but it's also not like the worst version, like it's an angsty new adult is what I would call it. And then the last one I want to mention, I really wanted to pull up a blast from the past, one that I haven't talked about in ages, but definitely fits a secret lover scenario. And I want to bring up Danger Zone by Brooke Blaine. So I used to read a lot of Brooke Blaine, actually, a lot of hers. And I believe like Ella Frank and Brooke Blaine used to do a lot of like pairings for, wrote a lot of gay romance, a lot of MM romance. And this is one that it's Top Gun meets MM romance, okay? So there are these two guys in fly school who end up being roommates and end up falling in love. So think if like, you know, Maverick and Goose, is that who they were? Think about if those two were ended up falling in love with each other, right? So there's a whole trilogy of this couple. There are, of course, some ups and downs. One of the men actually has a father who I think is like, I don't know, he's a commander or a general. Like I said, it's been a long time. Sorry, I'm not having my military terminology correct. I didn't look it up. But there would be a lot of backlash from his father if it got out that he was seeing a man. But yeah, there's some super hot scenes in this one. We got two alpha military men who are falling in love and fucking each other. It's a good time, okay? It's a good time. But there is also some very sweet moments, of course, too, while they are, you know, forced to be around each other so much. And they're doing a very dangerous job, right? Because they're in flight school and, you know, wrong moves can have very serious consequences in a environment like that. So there you go. Those are 10 secret lover / hidden relationship / a few taboo relationships that I had to share with you. I hope that you will give some of these a try. Again, as I said, I'll have them all linked down below. If you want to leave me a video recommendation, please check out the form I have linked down below. You can also leave me a book recommendation if you want to. And yeah, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching it. Leave me maybe a little like broken heart down below if you think about it. Just that will represent like angsty love or something like that. Let's do it. So thank you so much for watching, friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.